What's going on, everybody? I'm Adam Avin, and welcome to my new podcast, MYP on Miami. Here is where I'm going to talk, laugh, and rant a lot about our Florida sports teams, specifically the Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins, maybe throw some UF college football in there. Basically, my favorite teams that I can't extremely focus on in our real show, because you guys know we always have a lot to talk about, so this is a good space for us to talk on what's going on in the world of our hometown teams. Today, my good friend, a Varsity Water Polo Star, and huge sports fan, Jesse Staple, joins the pod to discuss the Miami Heat's huge Game 3 victory on Sunday night. But right now, it's just me on our second episode to kick off the show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. What a game it was, guys. Game 3 of the NBA Finals, Miami Heat versus Los Angeles Lakers. Jimmy Butler, 40-point triple-double. Just played absolutely insane, extremely aggressive. Every player on the Miami Heat made an impact on the floor. Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, obviously out for Game 3 as well, so we were lucky enough to get the win without them, but we just played great. And obviously the 19 turnovers that the Los Angeles Lakers had helped us a little bit too. Anthony Davis was dealing with foul trouble the entire game. And when he did play in the game in the fourth quarter, he only took one shot. So obviously, the Lakers did not play to their full ability, but they did shoot like they've been shooting the rest of the year. It's just their main stars, LeBron and Anthony Davis, didn't step up when they needed them most. But Jimmy Butler, our star, stepped up for us. And I said it on our first episode when I was recapping Game 1 and 2. I said, for the Miami Heat to win Game 3, for them to go on and win the next games, to win the series, to win the NBA Finals, they have to play big. They got to fix the rotation. Jimmy Butler has to be aggressive. Jay Crowder and Duncan and Tyler Hero can't just be shooting like average shooters. And guess what? I was right. Of course I'm right. I studied the Heat inside and out. Their defense was better. They switched to man instead of zone. They played more aggressive, especially our star Jimmy Butler. He knew what he had to do. Udonis Haslem probably told him, like, yo, D-Wade did this in 06. You got to do it right now. So waiting on the line right now is my good friend Jesse Staple, who I talked to during every Heat game, before every Heat game, and after every Heat game, so that we can discuss about what we just watched with our own eyes. So let's bring him on right now to discuss Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Hey, Jesse, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. So me and you have been talking a lot about the Heat's play, especially in the playoffs. You've been on Make Your Point. We've been able to talk about the NBA Finals together a lot outside of our on the Make Your Point YouTube channel. So Game 3 happened. We got the win. It's 2-1 now. Jimmy Butler had a 40-point triple-double. After two bad losses in the first two games, what did you see from the Heat that made you think, like, yo, we actually might have a chance in Game 4?
Well, I think the main thing was our defense. I think that in both games, both the first two games, we were running the same kind of defensive zone scheme, and we never shied away from it, even though it wasn't really working. And I think through Game 2, it worked a little bit better than Game 1. We found a way to tweak it a little bit, and we were playing a little bit, and we were in the game. I think the whole second half we were in the game. We were trailing by 9 to 15 points for the last 20 minutes. We just couldn't break that 9-point threshold.
Yeah.
But this game, you really saw a lot of man defense playing on the man-on-man. We saw Jimmy play on LeBron, and then whenever they'd set the screens, Duncan would switch onto him. I just liked the man-to-man defense, and it was working against Anthony Davis especially because we were keeping him out of the paint, getting him in foul trouble. He just was playing off, and I know how a lot of people have been saying, well, if Anthony Davis played great this game, they would have lost, which it could be true. But at the same time, you have to give us credit for getting him having a bad game. He doesn't just have a bad game. He's an all-star player. Yeah. He doesn't have a bad game. Like, somebody has to make him have a bad game.
Like when Kelly Olynyk had that, he drew his third foul, which was a charge on Anthony Davis, where he did the kind of Kemba Walker like the head flip back, you know. And that's obvious. But I guess fast paced, the refs can't really see that. But you're right, and the Lakers and Anthony Davis didn't do the best job offensively all night. Like obviously LeBron had the numbers, and it looked like he had a good game just if you're looking at the stats and stuff. But he didn't make that big of an impact in the fourth quarter at all. And the Lakers actually shot more threes than they did twos that whole game. And that's not how the Lakers have played basketball all year.
Oh,
and
I just want to bring up the statistic that they were undefeated when shooting better than 30% from three, and we broke their streak.
Yeah, that's also part of the man defense, right? Like you just said it yourself. Like, and what they did the first two games, especially, you knew LeBron. LeBron obviously is a high basketball IQ. He knows how Spo plays, but and how the Heat have played before because he was on the team. But it's obviously a different type of Miami Heat basketball now. Different roster, different ball movement. Well, with the Heat with LeBron, it was very slow paced. Now they're very fast. But like on the defensive side of the ball, the Heat, to break the zone, you basically pass the ball inside and then you pass right out to the 3-point line because then everyone moves that way and then it breaks it up. And LeBron was doing that the first two games. The first game specifically was just tearing it apart. Would pass inside to Anthony Davis, which would either leave Dwight Howard open right under the basket or Caruso or Kentavious Caldwell-Pope on either sides in the corner for the three. And they were knocking down all their shots too. And if I'm being honest, the only person who was really incredibly consistent in game 3 was Markieff Morris, who whenever he got the ball in his hands, I was like, oh my God. He was making his shots.
He was either swishing it or he's airballing it.
I know, but the swishes were enough to make me upset. He got, 4 or 5 threes, or I think he had 15 or something points. Based off that, I don't remember the exact number of how much he had, but he was actually playing good, and he was getting some wide open looks. But the man defense on the Heat, they were able – they caused 10 turnovers in the first quarter. I think LeBron had a significant number of them alone. And in the first quarter, they came out strong and they played a really good job. And I said, I said that they would have to come out strong. They have to play big, which they did. They played Myers Leonard and Kelly Olynyk, which made me very happy. There was not one moment in game 3 where Andre Iguodala was the tallest player on the floor. When Solomon Hill would get brought in, that made me very upset. But he came in one time and hit a 3, so I was like, "Oh my God, Solomon Hill did something." It was great, and good news actually. I don't know if you saw it, but they announced that Bam was upgraded to questionable for Game 4, so now he has more of a possibility of playing. Dragic's still out as of now, indefinitely. How big of an impact do you think having Bam back will have in Game 4, because we just played fine without him? Myers Leonard was plus 15 or something when we're on the floor with him, and Duncan Robinson was plus 27. As long as they're spreading the ball around, we should be okay. And we saw that in Game 3. But how much do you think Bam can do for us in Game 4?
Yeah, well, I think our biggest problem and our biggest need throughout this whole series and the biggest emphasis is our defense, because they have so much firepower coming at us. Like, it's hard to stop LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Anyone knows, everyone knows that. They're the clear favorites, but the only way we're going to beat them is if we can minimize their scoring so we can have a chance to outscore them. And having Bam there is just going to help us so much, having a top 5 defender, arguably top 5 defender in the NBA, back there to guard Anthony Davis, who is an offensive juggernaut and is huge, and I don't think anyone in our team matches up to him.
Yeah.
Besides Bam, I think Bam can guard him, but I just think it's going to be a lot easier for us to play on defense, and it's just going to make the game run smoother for us. We'll have someone a big body down low, and on offense too. He's a good post scorer, so I think that overall it's going to benefit us. But if Duncan Robinson doesn't start hitting his shots, he's nervous or something.
He's so nervous. And he had that 1-3, which was actually pretty clutch. Right over LeBron. LeBron clearly didn't give enough room to land. It should have been a foul. If that was the Lakers, they would have called it. I mean, you talked about that too. A lot of calls that were made that usually go towards the Lakers don't get called for us.
I think last game actually was pretty evenly called. I think a lot of
the game actually went by pretty fast too. There wasn't a lot of stoppage in play, But
Yeah, I
also,
mean,
Jimmy Butler by himself had 14 free throws, a lot of them coming in the second half. He was able to be aggressive and get to the hoop and hit some incredibly clutch shots and did all that while talking crap to LeBron in the fourth quarter, basically saying, "Yo, you're in trouble now." Uh, Jimmy Butler, in my eyes, to continue to play at a high level, obviously with Bam coming back, that's going to be strong. If Spoelstra keeps the rotation the way that it should, but do you think adding Bam back will Jimmy lighten up on his scoring, on his aggressiveness because he feels like he has someone to help him, or should he? Because me and you both know that if he's not scoring 30 points against this Lakers team with Anthony Davis and with LeBron, that he don't really have as much of a chance.
yeah. Well, I think that Bam's main attributes aren't really on the offensive side, that he's going to more benefit you on defense, and his offense is kind of complementary piece to his game overall. But I think that Jimmy Butler is going to overall remain pretty aggressive on offense because he kind of just knows and he has the mentality that this is his series to win. Like it's his series to win. If he has to take it over, or else it's a clean bye Heat. So
Yeah.
he's probably gonna. I mean, from what we've seen from him, he's gonna remain aggressive. He draws smart fouls. That I really like that. He was though. It's like that's an art to be able to get into the paint that much and draw
Sure.
a foul. Like that's something only a few people can do. It's like Dwayne Wade in the 06 finals with all those free throws.
Yeah, and he did all of that without shooting a three.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he 40 points with 13 assists and 11 rebounds without a three-pointer. And you know how rare that is in today's NBA, but I love that style of play. But the thing that pisses me off the most about Jimmy Butler is when he drives right to the hoop and has a wide open layup and then goes and passes it out all the way outside. And there were a few times where costly turnovers late in the third and fourth quarter where we needed those baskets, and you could see him when he does that and he messes up. He's like, oh my god, like he bends over, like claps, like he's clearly upsetting himself. But then immediately makes up for it in the second the play next. And you brought up Dwayne Wade, who in the 2006 NBA Finals against Dallas Mavericks, we were down 2-0. And Dwayne Wade said, "I'm taking matters into my own hands," and we won the next 4 games, and we won the finals in 6 games. Obviously, that's a bit of a stretch against this Lakers team. The only problem I see that the Heat are going to have, I've been saying this to you, if Bam comes back and he's healthy, which I hope he is because I want him to play and he's a tremendous player and help to the team. I don't want Spoelstra to be like, "Yo, Bam's back. He can be our center now and he can carry the full load." And now he's going to start Bam instead of Myers Leonard. Now the Heat don't play big, and now Dwight Howard's scoring more, and Anthony Davis is scoring more, and that can't happen, right? So you put Bam in there, you got to sit on with most sincerely love for the player that I'm mentioning. Duncan Robinson needs to come off the bench because he hasn't been shooting particularly well, and maybe that'll give him a boost of confidence to come off the bench and make an impact. But you start Tyler Hero because he's been playing well. You start Jay Crowder at the 2. You put Jimmy on LeBron. Then you bring in Bam on AD and continue to play Myers Leonard or Kelly Olynyk, either one, on Dwight Howard. Myers Leonard has made a 3 in both games that he's played and has made a huge impact on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I really think that the reason we made it to the finals is because we have the best depth in the league. So I think overall it's been hard when you have 2 of your starters out to be able to really utilize your depth to its fullest potential. But I think we have been using our depth, and I think the easiest way we're going to beat them is if we use the depth even more. Just keep swapping these guys in. Like if Jimmy gets a little tired, give him a little break and put Iggy on LeBron for a little bit, and then let Jimmy come back in. If we can give these guys our starters their needed breaks and still have these bench guys coming in and playing at a pretty high level, we're going to end up beating them in the end because LeBron and AD are going to get tired. They're going to be tired at the end of the game. But Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, Hero, all these guys just got so much rest on the bench because we had these other guys to go in that can play at a high level too. So if we can manage the rotation wisely, I think that it's going to really benefit us. And I think we've been doing a decent job so far. And we saw last game. I saw a lot of in and outs last game.
Yeah, so you brought up a good point, but also if you think about it, Bam and Dragic being out 2 games injured, yeah, the whole reason I feel like we made it to the finals is because we have excellent players that we can bring off our bench because we have that depth. But now that depth, our bench, is starting. And so now he doesn't want to play Chris Silva or Gabe Vincent or KZ Okpala, who's barely played in the NBA Finals, because he wants to play the strongest guys that we have, and 2 of the strongest guys that we have are now out. You know? So hopefully everyone on the Miami Heat can bring their best game. I spoke about it on the first episode of the podcast. I said these exact words: for the Miami Heat to win this series, they got to play big. Jimmy has to stay aggressive. Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Jay Crowder have to make their shots. They can't shoot like average shooters because they know how to shoot, and they've been showing it this whole bubble, and they can't lose that right now. And basically that's pretty much it. But they got to continue to do that consistently, and everyone on the floor needs to make an impact, because if Jimmy makes an impact and Bam comes back and he makes an impact, if Iggy makes an impact, that's fine. But Duncan Robinson can't have 3 points. Tyler Hero can't have 5 points, you know? So everyone's going to have to make that impact. I appreciate you coming on the podcast and talking with me. I'm sure we'll talk to you later, and I'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
That's it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening to me and Jesse talk about the Miami Heat's crucial Game 3 win. Before you go, make sure you subscribe to our Make Your Point YouTube channel so you know when we post new videos and keep up with the latest in sports news. Also, make sure to subscribe to our other YouTube channel, Big Cookie Entertainment, where we make short films and other videos of all genres.